But sometimes we lose media, lost media. Then we all go search for media. Lost media, it's not found, it's lost. Lost media. Sometimes it's well known, we all know that it's media. Lost media. We love to search for media, but it's not that media. Lost media. It's lesser known, lost media. Not well known, but it's still lost. Lost media. Lost media. It's lesser known, lost media. Here with Mr. Shaw.
Welcome back, Simian Squad, to volume 89 of Lesser Known Lost Media. As always, if you're joining us for the first time, congratulations, you have 88 videos you get to binge watch after enjoying this one. If you don't know how this works, well, what we do is we start with 4 lesser known pieces of lost media that are family friendly, safe for work, and just don't really get enough of their own spotlight here on YouTube. We take a brief break, and then we come back with a 5th spicy piece of unknown lost media. So, let's begin. We start today off with a video game, Black Rock Shooter the Game 2. Lost production materials for a cancelled action role-playing game sequel from the 2010s. Black Rock Shooter the Game is an action role-playing game that was developed by Imagine Epoch and is based off the Black Rock Shooter media franchise created by Huke. The game was released in Japan for the PlayStation Portable on August 25th of 2011, with an American release published by NIS America coming out on April 23rd of 2013, with a European release on April 24th of the same year. A sequel was planned to be in development. Little is known about the sequel's development, as it was never announced and was quietly cancelled behind closed doors. The only evidence of the Black Rock Shooter the Game sequel is concept art that was released onto Huke's Instagram account. Another blurry piece of concept art featuring an unknown character was posted onto Huke's Twitter account. Higher quality versions of these pieces of concept art can be seen on Huke's Pixiv fanbox. The description of the first piece of concept art on Instagram states that the game was in development, but was then cancelled due to various reasons. However, the reasons for the sequel's cancellation were never revealed by Huke. No other development information, production material, or builds for the sequel have ever surfaced online. While I have never played Black Rock Shooter the Game, I too know the disappointment that comes with finding out that a sequel to a game you loved was in development only for it to be cancelled. Personally, my white whale of cancelled games is The Simpsons Hit and Run 2, and now that EA has finally given up the license to The Simpsons, maybe we can finally get one. But, hopefully to all those Black Rock Shooter fans out there, someday you get a sequel. Up next, we have the lost works of author L. Frank Baum from the 1910s. L. Frank Baum is a famous children's author of the early 1900s, most famous for his wildly popular and critically acclaimed The Wizard of Oz series. Baum is widely respected for his great sense of imagination and his understanding of morality. Baum spent many years trying to shake off the popularity of the Oz books, as his real passion was writing adult books, of which only 4 of his were ever published. 4 others were never released, mostly due to Baum's financial troubles. The books were titled Our Married Life from 1912, Johnson, also from 1912, The Mystery of Bonita, 1914, and Molly Oodle, 1915. Little is known about the plot of these works. When Baum ran out of money to continue writing these books, he would lean back onto his Oz books for financial support. Publishing companies would often reject these works, choosing to continue making him produce Oz books instead. The 4 unpublished books remain unknown until Baum biographers discovered file folders and paperwork for the novels, but the actual manuscripts were missing. It is unknown what happened to the novels, and it remains one of the great literary mysteries to this day. One common theory originating by Baum's son is that Baum's wife may have destroyed the novels in a fire, though no definitive proof has ever come out. It can definitely be hard to shake off the tethers of a huge financial success, especially in the literary world. I know that she has become a controversial figure in recent times, but after the conclusion of the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling struggled to figure out what to do next in a world that really only knew her for Harry Potter. R.L. Stine had tried his hand at writing adult books, but honestly, he'll always be the Goosebumps guy. While many authors just kind of roll into it and go, you know what, if this is what people want me to write, if this is what's making me money, that's what I'll do. But several do struggle trying to, challenge themselves in a literary sense to create something that's not just the next installment of their fan favorite franchise. And it sounds like this is what Baum tried to do and ultimately failed, though I don't know why his wife would have burned his manuscripts. That's kind of weird. If there are any creepypasta writers out there, maybe you can come up with an idea and post that story to Mr. Sean Reads Stories, and I can read it here on the channel. Make it a good one. Worthy of Baum himself. Alright guys, our next piece is The Blood Red Tape of Charity, a lost Universal silent short propaganda drama film from 1913. The Blood Red Tape of Charity is a 1913 silent short drama propaganda film distributed by Universal Film Manufacturing Company under its Powers label. Written and directed by Edwin August, it stars August as a gentleman thief called Marks attempting to help the Weldon family, who have fallen onto hard times and were unable to receive timely aid from charities because of the organization's red tape regulations. August conceptualized The Blood Red Tape of Charity as a propaganda film in an attempt to expose the issues surrounding charitable institutions, whose excessive organization and red tape prevented them from being effective. Advertisements for the Crystal Theater, Lawrence Journal World, and El Paso Herald focused on the propaganda aspect of the film, claiming it would highlight charitable organizations' incompetency with the intent to regenerate them, as well as encouraging people to become more charitable themselves. This made the film controversial upon release, with the charity organization societies criticizing the exaggerated incompetency of the charities depicted in the film and the family's troubles caused by it. The Charity Organization Movement in the United States, a study in American Philanthropy, Volume 19, believed the film had distorted facts in order to criticize organized charity. A review in Moving Picture World praised the film for its photography and for some strong moments, but criticized the acting for being both melodramatic and insincere. Additionally, two scholars, John Marsalis and Michael Blake, claimed Lon Chaney features in the film uncredited as a Jewish pawnbroker. This is based on the surviving still featuring Marx haggling with the pawnbroker, included in Patricia Aaron's 1988 book, The Jew in American Cinema, as an example of how films historically depicted Jewish people. So, what is the actual plot of this film? Well, while the film itself is lost, the Blood Red Tape of Charity's plot remains accessible as it featured in an issue of Moving Picture News. According to the description, telegraph linesman and father William Weldon struggles to sustain his large family because of his low salary. He is suddenly injured and unable to work for many weeks, following him falling off of a telegraph pole. His family turns towards charity organizations for help, but despite them promising assistance, they cannot do so in a timely fashion to prevent the family from starving because of their regulations. Meanwhile, Marks, the gentleman thief, meets Williams's daughter, Alice, having lived in the same building as the Weldon family via a secret retreat. Although Marks himself lacks available money in hand, he decides to help the family, firstly by forcing a doctor to attend to the family's needs, then with the help of a gang, attends a charity ball with the intent to steal valuables from the attendees. These are then pawned, with the money going towards assisting the Weldons. Only after the family recovers do the charities send money and food to them. Marks ultimately decides to turn himself into the police, having long intended to reform. While in his prison cell, he sees a vision of Alice, who thanks him for sacrificing his freedom through such a charitable act. So what, if anything, is available? Well, the film itself is a lost film. The reason behind why or when the film became lost is unknown. Nevertheless, if any copies were in Universal's vaults, the company ultimately would have deliberately destroyed them alongside all other copies of their silent films in 1948. The surviving still and plot details are all that remains of the film. I know propaganda kind of has a negative air to it, but ultimately propaganda, when used for good and to point out the actual shortcomings in society, can be a very good thing. And in this case, I feel like this film had a very good intent to it. I myself rarely do any kind of charitable donations for this exact reason. I don't believe that the money that I would potentially donate is actually going to help people. The only charity I really take part in is Toys for Tots, because I'm donating an actual toy that is going to go to a child. But beyond like any type of monetary funding, I am so worried that the charity organization is not going to utilize the funds in a way that actually helps anyone other than keep the charity running. And I feel like, this film and I, same page. Alright guys, at number 4 we have Zanyin Laura, lost unreleased Vocaloid voice bank circa 2014 to 2015. Now Zanyin Laura is a Mandarin Chinese voice bank that was announced for the Vocaloid 3 singing synthesis software at the end of its lifetime. It was to be developed by Shanghai Hainan for NetEase. Laura was developed primarily for use in the game Zanyin OL, an RPG rhythm game where players would use rhythm and music to battle. Now, a little bit about the development. On July 13th, 2014, Laura was teased as a new Vocaloid alongside a pre-existing Vocanese character. Later, on August 15th, a silhouette was revealed, revealing that the new voice bank would be female. Laura's design, name, and biography were later revealed on the 26th of that month. On the same day, a contest was held for Laura's voice actress, where 4 contestants appeared on stage and performed. Fans were to vote for which contestant they liked the most on Laura's website. The 4 contestants were Saomonin Ji, Gujian Ren, Hanling Guo, and Zhaolian Sha, which I know I just butchered all of those, I'm sorry. On October 15th, it was announced that Gujiang Ren was the winner of the contest and began recording soon thereafter. On the 20th of November, Guojiang Ren said she finished her recordings for Zanyin Laura. I have no idea if I'm saying these right, I'm sorry. Now, over to 2015, on May 1st of 2015, Vocanese attended the YACA event to remind everyone that the Vocanese voice bank, whose art had been shown beside Laura, was still in development. They were reviewed by a reporter and gave information about the aforementioned vocal, as well as Laura. They said that although Shanghai Hainan was developing the Laura voice bank, rights to the character belonged to NetEase, so they would handle Laura's marketing and release. Now, on the 18th of that month, Guojian Ren, Laura's voice provider, talked about her voice bank. She said that her feelings were complex, but overall she was very happy with the way it sounded and hoped that Laura would be loved. She also said that she was very excited to see how fans would react to Laura's release. On that same day, Renji 2, one of the developers of Laura's voice bank, said that the voice bank did not satisfy NetEase and that they needed to go back and fix it, causing Laura to be delayed. Then in 2016, sometime in February, Vocanese, now V-Singer, confirmed that the person who had been responsible for the Zanyin Laura project had resigned from NetEase and was no longer interested in the project, and that the Laura project was cancelled. Since then, little information has surfaced regarding Laura. And considering that was 9 years ago, guys, I think it's pretty safe to say that this project really is basically canceled, even if they've not officially said so. I think no longer interested in the project might as well be saying canceled, but it sounds like it was almost near completion, so maybe somewhere these files still exist, and maybe one day we'll have them. I'm aware of Vocaloids. I'll be honest, I don't understand it. I don't fully understand the Vocaloid thing, but I know people are very passionate about it, and I know that they, like, as with any passionate fan base, the more content you have access to, the better. So I'm sure this is highly desired among Vocaloid fans. Alright guys, so, we're going to get to that spicy piece in just a moment, but first we're going to go over our KPIs for last week, because as you know, we're trying to save this channel. I need to meet one of 2 goals in order to, keep the channel going into 2026. Now, the goal number 1 is that the channel needs to get 2,000 subscribers and an average of 1,000 views per video each week. Goal number 2 is simply put that the channel needs to be bringing in $100 a month. I spent 3 years getting this channel monetized, and if it's going to continue to grow, then of course I will continue with the channel. But if it's going to stagnate and really not bring any benefit other than taking hours and hours of my time each week, because I do spend a good amount of time on these videos, then I'm going to have to pursue other creative avenues, as again, this does take quite a bit of time. But we're going to go over our progress for these two goals and see how close we are to making that. So as of right now, we are at 1,145 subscribers out of 2,000. So that is an improvement from last week. Now, as to average views per video, well, last week we were at an average of a little over 100. The week before that, we were at 69. So we were showing some improvement. Unfortunately, views dipped this week. We are down to 59 average views per video. That is a step in the wrong direction, but I feel like we might be able to rectify that. Hopefully, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to share them around, get those view counts up, and I think 1,000 views average per video is not too much to ask. If you disagree with me, be sure to say so in the comments. Again, all comments help the algorithm. As for the channel's revenue, out of the goal of $100 a month, we are currently at $22.16 per month. So we're making our way there, but we've still got a long way to go. Now, guys, ultimately, as great as it would be if people just started joining as members and things like that, I would honestly be much happier, even if it didn't fully result in the monetary goals, if we could get the subscribers, up to 2,000, and we could get those views. That's what's going to help the channel grow, is more views, more subscribers, more comments, to put it into perspective. I have 1,145 subscribers. I put out at least 3 videos a week. So even if only a third of my subscribers were actively watching, and even if they only watched 1 video of the 3 per week, that would still be an amount of views of 381 views that week. Do you want to know how many views we've gotten in the last 7 days? 370. Which means that not even a third of my subscribers are tuning into the channel, not even for just 1 video. Now, I get it. People are busy. There is a lot going on. Not everyone has time to sit and just watch one small YouTuber's 3 videos a week. I get it, but that's why we need the channel to grow. We need there to be, if I want 1,000 views per video, I figure I do need at least 2,000 subscribers, and I need those people to be sharing the video around. I need people to be posting it places where people that enjoy similar things to them can see it, and we can help this channel grow. Ultimately, yes, $100 extra a month would be very nice, but I feel like we can do more, and without having to have people sign up to be members, all it takes is to get these videos out there, and I need your help with that. So I'm really hoping the numbers go up for next week's video, and I've taken up enough of your time. Let's get to that spicy piece. Alright guys, for our 5th spicy piece, we have The Sun, lost British newspapers' safe of unpublished photos, stories, and videos, circa early 1980s to the present. Now, The Sun is a British tabloid newspaper that has been in circulation since September of 1964. Since being purchased by News Corp in 1969, it has become a daily paper since 2012. In 2014, following the fallout of the News of the World phone hacking scandal, 6 of its staff were on trial accused of corrupting public officials, known as the Sun 6 trial. During the trial, former deputy news editor Ben O'Driscoll claimed that the newspaper had a 7-foot-high safe filled with over 30 years of unpublished photographs, stories, and videos of people in the public life. Now, The Sun is one of the highest circulating newspapers in the UK, selling 1.13 million copies daily by March of 2020. It's most notable for its sensationalist splash headlines, including the famous "Freddie Starr ate my hamster," which reported that comedian Freddie Starr had eaten his girlfriend Leela Sal's hamster in March of 1986, with Starr claiming in 2001 that the incident was a complete fabrication. However, before the Sun 6 trial, the Sun had already experienced many controversies, particularly its coverage of the Hillsborough disaster, where it published a headline entitled "The Truth," containing allegations about Liverpool Football Club fans during the disaster that were later refuted, led to a major boycott of the paper through Merseyside. This boycott remains to this day, although the paper has maintained its popularity outside the region. Now, in January of 2011, the Metropolitan Police began an operation entitled Operation Weeding that investigated allegations of phone hacking primarily by employees of the Sun's sister paper, News of the World. This had ties back to 2005, when it was determined that the phones of the royal family had been hacked. Over several months, it was revealed that personnel had for years been hacking into voicemails of various politicians, celebrities, and royal family members. By July of 2011, it was also discovered that News of the World hijacked the voicemails of murdered teenager Millie Dower, the mother of murdered girl Sarah Payne, the relatives of the victims of the 7/7 terrorist attacks, and deceased British soldiers. The resulting scandal led to the closure of News of the World on the 10th of July that same year, after 168 years of publications, and the resignation of various people within News International. Now, as to the trial and the safe, well, additionally, the Levson inquiry was launched to investigate not only phone hacking, but also police bribery cases. This led to the Metropolitan Police opening Operation Elvedon to investigate bribery and corruption within its ranks. By January of 2013, it was reported that 22 journalists from The Sun had been arrested as part of the operation. 6 of them would face trial in October of 2014, coined the Sun 6. This included then head of news Chris Farrow, ex-managing editor Graham Dudman, ex-deputy news editor Ben O'Driscoll, Thames Valley District reporter Jamie Pyatt, and picture editor John Edwards, and ex-reporter John Troop. They would face charges concerning conspiring to commit misconduct in a public office. Now, during the trial, O'Driscoll claimed in late 2014 that the Sun held a 7-foot-high safe, which he claimed contained over 30 years' worth of unpublished photos, stories, and videos. Considering Driscoll stopped working for the newspaper in January of 2011, this would mean the safe had contained such content since at least the early 1980s. He stated the stories were confidential and generally featured MPs, celebrities, royal family members, and other notable figures. He told the trial that the newspaper would carefully assess these confidential stories, with the editor determining whether they should be published out of public interest. Although much of the content inside the safe was deemed by the organization to be not in the public interest, O'Driscoll believed the material was eye-popping, containing revelations that about the involved individuals that O'Driscoll felt could have significantly increased the Sun's circulation. On the 16th of January 2015, Troop and Edwards were fully cleared, while O'Driscoll and Dudman were partially cleared, with the jury failing to reach verdicts on the remaining charges for them and against Farrow and Pyatt on the 22nd of that same month. Nevertheless, a retrial began later that year, but by October 2015, Farrow and Pyatt became the last to have their charges fully cleared. Of 29 cases against journalists, only the Sun's crime reporter, Anthony France, was convicted of aiding and abetting misconduct in a public office between 2008 and 2011. However, this verdict was overturned on the 27th of October 2016. Alright, so now what about the safe? Right, we're talking about the safe. It sounds like we've not really talked about the safe that much. Well, there are theories regarding the safe. On 22nd of March 2016, Peter Jukes of Byline wrote a post detailing theories regarding the purpose of the safe, nicknamed the Black Museum. He wrote that some have speculated what material could be dwelling in the safe, ranging from compromising photos of the royal family members to evidence of potential crimes. He also claimed Rebecca Brooks, editor of The Sun from 2003 to 2009, and a prominent figure in the phone hacking scandal, had discussed to sources about the scandals hidden within the vault, naming some individuals as U-Tree type material. And if you're unfamiliar with that, Operation U-Tree was the one conducted by the British authorities against child predator Jimmy Savile. Jukes sources claim that a film and photo of Queen Elizabeth II raising the Nazi salute as a child were held in the safe for years before being published by the newspaper in July of 2015. The Sun refused to state where it received the footage, but claimed it was in the public interest. Jukes cited Hack, a book written by former News of the World journalist Graham Johnson, as possible evidence that the newspaper has hidden evidence of possible crimes. The book notably claimed the then editor suppressed incriminating evidence regarding potentially schmetophilic behavior from sci-fi author Arthur C. Clarke due to Clarke's relationship with Rupert Murdoch, owner of News Corp, although the editor denies the allegation. Similarly, the Daily Mail reported that the Sun had a police file on Cyril Smith, a Liberal Democrat MP who since his death has been accused of prolific youngling abuse, which may have been kept in the safe since at least 1982. Alternatively, Jukes theorized the Black Museum's contents may contain scandalous material, but otherwise hold nothing that would incriminate affected individuals. It, of course, should be noted that none of these theories have been proven as of the present day, and with only Jukes having theorized its contents with the assistance of unnamed sources, scrutiny should be applied. But is there anything that is available that we know as like concrete proof of something that was in the safe? Well, providing Jukes claims that the Cyril Smith file was in the safe is valid, the safe and its contents most likely dwell within the newspaper's Fleet Street offices, as the Daily Mail reported that a burglary within the offices led to the newspaper's then editor being found to have possessed a copy of it. Whether the materials still exist to this day or have since been destroyed remains unknown. Because of the nature of the material, it is extremely unlikely that most, if not all of it, would ever leak to the public. I mean, News Corp, if you're in America, you know News Corp is Fox, or at least the parent company of Fox, so connected to Fox News, definitely not the most scrupulous of companies, despite the fact that they are the ones that show my beloved Simpsons show. So I can 100% believe that someone under their control would have a lot, secret files of incriminating things that, one, they've chosen not to publish, but who knows what else they could be using that for. I'm not, hypothetical, just an opinion. If you had stuff like that and you were choosing not to use it, who's saying you aren't? Who's saying you're not getting some money for keeping it out of the public eye? Either way, no matter what is included in there, I'm sure it would be an interesting read if you got to rummage through it. And that's our video today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's see if we can get more than 300 views for the channel, going into, by this time next week. Be sure to tune in to Monday's new episode of The Familiar Place. Be sure to tune into Wednesday's Reddit Stories episode. And be sure to tune into next Friday's Volume 90, is coming up for this show. I can't believe we've done this many of them. But until next time, everybody, I'm really hoping that in between these episodes we can make some progress towards our goals. Thank you so much to J-Dog and Towman for your continued support. And if you'd like to get a shout out at the end of the lesser known Lost Media videos, check out my member section, check out my Patreon. All of the tiers are there. And if you really want to watch the member exclusive videos, because that's just kind of me doing some opinion pieces, you can watch. There was one that was kind of put out for anyone who was interested to view the on Monday of this week, where I talk about a local game store and how I'm not very happy with their business practices. If you like stuff like that, you can join the $1 tier, and that gets you access to every member exclusive video. So all that being said, guys, thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video around. Thank you for watching to the end. I'm Mr. Sean. This is Mr. Sean Productions, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.